For ages, Kenya Harlequins have blown hot and cold in the local rugby scene, but last season's chance change in fortunes, in which they won the National Rugby Circuit title, has left the team purring that they can upscale the odds to challenge for the coveted Kenya Cup title. But how realistic is this dream? Our very own Emmanuel Ndungu took time and spent some time with the team and filed this report.
For the first time since 2012, the Kenya Harlequins won the National 7 Series. The next big target now is the 15th Kenya Cup. And the big question is, can they topple the dominant forces of KCB and Cabra Sugar?
It's pre-season for the 15th Kenya Cup, and many teams are well into their programs to start the league in top shape. Kenya Harlequins head coach Paul Murunga was kind enough to give us an inside look at their training as they look to challenge the season. The Quins have a history in Kenya's Premier Rugby division. They earned their first Kenya Cup win in 1995 and retained their title the following year. They then went through a golden era around the 2010s, winning 4 titles between 2008 and 2012. 12 years later, though, they had failed to win another National Sevens or Kenya Cup championship. Going into the 7th circuit earlier this year, Murunga was pessimistic about their chances for glory, but things turned out a bit better than expected.
Our target was basically to improve from last season's performance. Last season we finished 6th, so we wanted to make sure that this season we finish better than previous position. And of course, through hard work, we are able to play well and even win the entire circuit.
So from 6th to a triumphant victory, a large change in fortune. But what made the difference?
All the time we were talking about belief, effort and brotherhood. So we were really in on putting in the effort, suffering for each other and just believing that we could actually take it. And I think at the end of the day, it was a very intense period of time, but because we kept believing and we kept believing that our effort would pay off, and because we also believed in each other, I guess those were the key ingredients to our success.
The Quins no doubt hope to continue the momentum into the 15th season, but they'll definitely have their work cut out. Every season since 2015 has been won by either KCB or Cabra Sugar, with the last 2 seasons being taken by the latter. But Murunga gave some insight on the team's preparation as they embark on the challenge.
So as we were playing sevens, the other guys were busy in the gym doing their conditioning phase. So the last 2 weeks, we've come together, the sevens boys and of course the 15th guys that were doing preseason. So we are trying to make sure that now the team comes together to play 15s. The crop of players that we have for 15s and the preseason that we've done are just ticking the boxes to make sure that they get their strength level, their speed, and of course a game understanding in terms of structures to make sure as we start this season we are in a better place to play and win the title.
So what's the feeling within the camp? Is the team confident in claiming their first Kenya Cup win in over a decade?
Yeah, we'll see. As they said in during sevens they said we couldn't do it and we did it, right? So let's see if we can do it again.
Most definitely, for sure. Although right now our focus isn't so much on toppling KCB or Cabras, I think right now our focus is on getting ready for the season and more or less just trying to bring out our best potential, because it's a very long season, a lot of variables, you never really know what happens. But the one thing we want to do is position ourselves in the best chance to succeed. So right now our focus, our heads are just down, we're just trying to get ready for the season.
So the Quins are quietly optimistic of their chances this year, but they're taking one day at a time. For Sporty Monday, I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
The Quins ended the dream, of course, after winning the circuit, the National 7 Circuit title. The aim is now the Kenya Cup. Festus, is that dream feasible? What must they address?
I think Coach Murunga has talked about the things that they did wrong during the Kenya Cup, because we remember they won that title not because they reached the final or did well. they left the competition, I think, at around quarterfinals, but they were lucky to have performed well.
That's the last leg in Nakuru.
Yes,
yeah.
They were lucky to have performed well in the other legs, so they were crowned overall champion. But I think this it's showing that our rugby is evolving, because in Kenya Cup, the likes of Kenya Harlequins used to dominate. But
Yes,
currently we've seen teams like Cabras coming up so well, giving very stiff competition to Cabras. So I think our rugby is evolving, and also I hope Kenya Harlequins may do well maybe in the coming tournament. Now that Murunga is saying he's going to work on the things that they got wrong in the last season. Yeah.
Shitera, I know you support Cabras because it's your home village team. And they've been a dominant force alongside the KCB, but granted, Cabras have been the most dominant force lately. Do you think the Queens with their dream, they have a chance against the Cabras as the season prepares to take off?
I think they have a chance, and this reminds me of those so-called community clubs in rugby, because we used to support such teams, Kenya Harlequins, Mean Machine, the teams that used to dominate. And then came in Cabras, KCB, Menengai Oilers, the corporate teams. So by default, I support Cabras because that is where I come, that is where I call home. So
but you never bring us sugar.
No. I'll bring when I go home this December, I'll bring you a sack of sugar from
a whole sack.
A whole sack. That is a promise.
That's a pledge made on national television.
Yeah, it's a pledge. So when we see such Kenya such efforts from Kenya Harlequins, we are hopeful. And this is the competition we've been yearning for, that Cabras with their money, they can be downed by a club that really is only focusing on talent. Because when you talk of Cabras, KCB, they basically buy talent. So this is good for our game as rugby, so to speak. And we also pray that it happens even to football, because such clubs like Shabana should really be stepping up and regaining their lost glory.
Forget about his Shabana. But Brenda Wakili, the Kenya Cup season will be beginning shortly. And what must Harlequins do from where you sit, really, to give a good run in the quest for Kenya Cup? You've seen what the coach is saying, how they are preparing for this. But do you think they can go the full hog?
They should be able to, and because seeing as it is not it is not prepping for a few teams, it is prepping for the entire season. But I'm afraid KCB looks like they are the more stable side in all this, given that they were even able to win without performing well in the final season of it all. But again, it's the preparation stage that will really, and how they perform cumulatively, that will determine how well they have prepared for this, or how well they are going to be our representatives next. The most impressive thing about the Elgon Cup that we saw this past weekend was the fact that we saw under 16 teams curtain raising for the main ones, and these are teams from academies. To mean they are functional academies, and rugby actually recognizing that these teams from the academies can actually be used, instead of having senior teams doing the curtain raising for major cup tournaments. Then it only points towards the definition of our future of rugby is a bit safe, something that would want to see happening more even in other fields, because again, government, the Sports Act has this Kenya Academy for Sports that for the longest we haven't seen churning out proper talent, or seeing people actually joining the academies and doing what academies essentially should be doing. So it was a good show to see our under 16s curtain raise for a big cup. Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, talking of the Elgon Cup, we'll be talking much more about that after the break, including a link from Bonn, Germany regarding the Bundesliga. Not to forget, all square at the bridge. But before we take that break, we are asking you the question of the day. Do you think the Stars have a chance to qualify for AFCON that is set for next year in Morocco? Do you think Harambee Stars will beat Namibia and Zimbabwe to bag that ticket? We want to hear from you, and of course we'll be sampling your thoughts after the brief commercial break we are having.